All right, welcome back. This is the Joyner Reckoning, number 3. Twice is nice, thrice is best. Thank you for showing up if this is your first time. And why not subscribe while you're here? Because that gets more eyeballs on me. And if I don't say it first and foremost, no one will do it. So God bless you all. I appreciate it. So I will jump straight to it. It is what you're holding right there in your hand or propped up on something and you don't even think about it anymore. Your cell phone. We're going to talk about your cell phone. Well, actually, we're just talk about all cell phones, not just specifically you. I don't want to single anyone out. People get all fucking weird. It's like young people in all caps. They can't handle it. And I understand everybody's a mess. So we're going to talk about cell phones. I want to let everyone know, just out the get-go, I came to New York City back in 2006. That's almost 20 years ago, and I've been here ever since. Trapped, stranded, enjoying myself, not enjoying myself. It is a love-hate relationship with the big fucking apple. And it's a poisoned apple, and it's a shiny apple. Some of it's an organic apple, some of it's a GMO apple, and it sucks. But I'm still here. So I got here in 2006. I started my training in acting and Broadway training. Went to basically the coolest, awesomest, worst place you can go. And I want to say worse because it was like wild argument training. Like it was emotional boot camp. That's what it was. And basically they could do whatever the fuck they wanted to you. You could leave any time. Some people lost their minds, and they literally did. And some people just said, I'm done, fuck this. So it was incredibly life-altering. One of the greatest experiences of my life, which I'm sure in this podcast I'll go into greater detail. But what it has to do with cell phones is just that. Smartphones didn't exist. Not yet. Not quite. Smartphones showed up in fall of 2007. So 2006, there wasn't any pretense of a cell phone. Any exercise we did, any work we did, had nothing to do with a cell phone. You couldn't film or take pictures there anyway. They wouldn't allow it. But I wonder how much that policy got stretched through time as more and more kids showed up with their smartphones that became an extension of their personality and themselves. And what exercises did they do that incorporated their cell phone? Because cell phones at that point in time, once they arrived, were incorporated into everything. Here's the thing, guys. I saw into the future. I saw into the fucking future. And I got a really loud earthquake to go with that to add to that. I was working in a fine dining restaurant in 2007, in fall 2007. And I remember the executive chef at one of the meetings pulling out his smartphone for the first time, excited to tell us that you could get on the internet, on this right here, right now. You can take endless pictures and video. There's so much memory. I am so tech inept. So I was like, oh, okay, it's great. I don't care. But everyone cared, and everyone would only care further. But what I saw into the future blew my mind then, and now is just any outing you go anywhere. I was noticing when I was taking care of different tables. First I was bussing, and then through time I was waiting tables at this fine dining establishment in Manhattan. Is that I saw more and more people like they're kind of ignoring each other. They're just looking at their new smartphone, huh? And then through time, not long after, the iPad showed up. So they were watching an iPad or having their kid watch an iPad so they'd leave them the fuck alone. Not that a lot of kids went to fine dining restaurants, but a few did on the weekends. But here's the thing, guys. Smartphone, that was, at first, just seemed like, oh, it's for rich people, because that's who it was for. Only the rich had it first. The rich have everything first. And during the pandemic, there was the Belgian psychologist, social psychologist, or whatever he does, Matthias Desmet, who talked about the mass formation of everybody losing their minds. If you do remember that pandemic thing that happened where everyone went crazy, we talk about the mass formation starts at the top. It starts with the people most well off in society. The richest motherfuckers, the craziest, most delusional motherfuckers who have enough money to not have anyone argue with them of how crazy they are. It starts with them. So I was watching this, and I was seeing it in lunches, I was seeing it at dinner time. It's like, man, rich people really suck. They don't seem to want to talk to each other. But that's what proliferated out through time. That's what it became. It became a world where everyone was disconnected, bit by bit by bit by bit. I think I read this somewhere, maybe I'm making it up. It was around 2012, the vast majority of people now own smartphones and everything that went with it. And I saw early on that smartphones were just a big fuck-off toy. Everyone wanted to play on their fuck-off toy. Because why not? There's so many hours in the day, and I have so much at arm's length that I can do. And for me, like everything else, I'm not impressed by much. But I said on my last Joyner Reckoning podcast that my vision went to shit in 2011. So at that point, I didn't own a smartphone. So I didn't get drawn in the same way as everybody else did. But already from the beginning, I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not feeling this. And I'm already starting to see the writing on the walls. But I was like, nah, this isn't going to take over. This isn't going to just become every moment of every day for everybody. But Keith, poor Keith, you underestimate the zombification of the population and how eager people are to melt their own brains. And I did. I have higher standards of expectation, unfortunately. It's made me a very miserable person. But I will carry on and continue with that, damn it. And we'll just see where that takes all of us. But what I want to talk about right here, right now, was the saddest, most depressing thing. And I know, fuck that, who wants to talk about that? But this, to make my greater point, is this. I saw people with their newborns in a baby carriage. First at the restaurant, nice, sexy restaurant in 2008. And they'd be looking at their phone. And their kid, what the kid's going to do? The kid's already helpless. It's a baby. But I promise that kid then and now, because this still occurs, that kid is internalizing that whatever that is that mommy or daddy are looking at is more important than them. And from 2008 on, I mean, if you were born in 2008, so you were maybe a rich kid, you're now 16, maybe almost 17. So you've had your entire life into your adolescence, into your teenhood, to experience that, see that whatever this is seems to be the biggest deal. And if you look, right now you're looking at a cell phone, most likely. Everything, the biggest deal is happening on screen everywhere. And people are just mystified forever, hypnotized forever. And the technology spends all of its time documenting your behavior, watching you as you watch it. They say when you stare into the void is also staring back at you. That's everybody. And we become so desensitized from what this is and what this has done. But for a kid, a little kid, seeing that they're probably not as important as this machine, even though I'm sure some parents, that's probably true. For others, it's just collateral. It was not expected. It was not desired. But everyone, hitting my computer. It's not a cell phone. I have a computer and I'm punching it. But no, the cell phone is that everyone has been drawn into this. This was a play toy for everyone. There wasn't a guinea pig generation where I was like, wow, this is probably very damaging for me and my loved ones and my children. I'll think better about it. And I'll know how to help my kids when they're given their first phone. That's not what happened at all. Not what happened at all. Now, those kids pine. When am I going to get my phone? Because once again, it has been internalized for these kids. I promise it has. That's more important. That kid wants love and validation. Perhaps that phone will give it to them. And I started thinking about this harder and harder because for me, just jumping into this madness, this content creation, which I had no interest in whatsoever. I went to New York City for acting school. Remember, I was going to be an actor. I was going to be an actor on Broadway. And maybe I would have been, but I had some epic life events hamstring that. And perhaps I'll talk about that through time, but it's not the right time. But where I am right here, right now, to even attempt to share me, my talent, my ability, my thought process, I realize everyone is doing this. And a lot of them at younger and younger ages. And I thought really hard about it. I was like, what is that? I mean, I get the appeal to a certain degree, but there's a lot of a delusional element, and you got to be able to back it up. You have to be entertaining. You have to be interesting. And I realize there's a lot of bells and whistles in the whole technology now that it can assist in that, and people use it to the nth degree. That's why everything's a fucking jump cut. That's why everything suddenly jumps to another fucking picture, video, other thing to make your point, to make you laugh, to do this, to do that. I get it. And for me, because I couldn't see for the longest time, no, I didn't get drawn in, and my time was not spent on a cell phone. But what I think, and I only thought this last night, is that I think a lot of people are suffering from what I'm going to coin as Robin Williams syndrome. And what that is, Robin Williams was the, maybe, debatedly greatest comedian ever. Some people maybe would feel differently. I would argue he's definitely in the top 5, top 3, maybe. But that man grew up as a rich kid. Both his parents worked. Everything he did in life started with the desire to make mommy and daddy happy and laugh and gain some attention because he was a neglected kid. He also was a super talent that spent an enormous time by himself and tempered that energy towards something that made him incredibly prosperous through time. But he was always quite sad, and that sadness finally was his undoing when his brain had the Lewy body syndrome with the dementia that he was suffering from. But I feel like I think I saw a post on X the other night that said, like, do you still miss this person? And I responded with, I think the world misses this person. But it got me thinking. It's like, I think a new generation that spends all of its time on cell phones and spends all of its time wanting to content create and wanting to share videos and wanting to share pictures to their friends and perfect strangers, wanting to have their 15 seconds of fame, their 15 minutes of fame, or greater. Always, it's just embedded. I think that starts with a youth that grew up in a smartphone world where their parents, knowingly or unknowingly, attention was divided, and those kids developed that disassociation and need to be a part of whatever that was that mommy and daddy were looking at. I really have come to think that's what this is. And that's what everybody, I don't want to say they're suffering from. I think we're all just immersed in that. Because there are plenty of people that aren't young that are also doing this. I think everyone is just emulating everyone else. That's what's happening now. For me, I will obviously look to do a different presentation. Because, like it or not, motherfuckers, I have training. I have speech training. I have voice training. I have acting training. I was on television for a bit. By the same token, I got no problem. If this is something you enjoy, this is something you love, this is something you have honest to God, something profound and cool and awesome to share, I say have at it. But I have noticed just being here, it's like, this is quite a glut of personalities and people. Some of them have business doing it, many don't. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to shit on people for having fun, but I do think on a pathological level, there's something more going on. It's just my theory. I haven't heard about it anywhere else. I've read a lot, or I've listened a lot to people like Jonathan, I think his name's Jonathan Haidt. Is that what it's spelled with all kinds of other letters that wouldn't make you think that? I think he works at Columbia, maybe not. Might be Yale, might be Harvard, but one of the Ivy League schools here in the city. And he's talked about a lot of this stuff about a young generation having the digital childhood and what that's done. And we're all just experiencing that right now. My biggest beef with all of it is everyone's just kind of, well, I guess this is just what we're dealing with. Oh well. Yet so many lives are getting ruined, and more than anything, so many people are underdeveloped. That's the craziest part. Like, everyone is turned into, like, no-bake brownies. And those are apparently now going to be tastier and more superior than baked brownies. And now that's just the world we're in, is that people are not having normal functions developed to live prosperous adult experiences. And we're all just kind of, well, that's just how it went. It's not how it went. We consciously made a choice as a species to incorporate the smartphone into everything. And we are now paying the price in real time. And a lot of people have made a lot of money off of that. And God bless them. And I don't know how we how we pull this back. I don't. And I'm not someone that's, looking out for everybody. I don't have kids, but I do feel disturbed. I just feel disturbed on a regular basis. I remember my dad last night, I was talking to him on the phone, he was saying, because my dad's, in his late 70s, so he's hugely technologically inept. He has to go to the cell phone store just for simple things that they help him or don't help him out with. But he said when he got there, and he put his hand out to whoever the person was helping him, who was someone in their mid-20s, and they literally grabbed the tips of his fingers and shook them. And my dad was like, oh my fucking God, these fucking people don't know how to shake hands. And I think that's true, because who's showing these young people how to shake hands? The cell phone's not teaching you how to shake a hand, not yet. Though I don't know, is there a handshaking app? I don't know. It's probably a pornography app, probably. But I wouldn't know at this point in time, because I don't honestly know enough young people. Young people now are partitioned off in their own little sphere of experience. And that's the thing too. A lot of us, I don't want to say there's an ageism in this country, but I think it's just a byproduct of all of what I'm talking about, is that young people simultaneously want that approval of an older generation, while also think the older generation can go fuck themselves because they feel abandoned. And I don't think they would all acknowledge that, but I think there's something to that. Or it's just like any other youth movement through time. What the hell do the older people know? I get it. I've been a part of that through time. Unfortunately, I'm aging out. Some people would say, you're closer to middle age, which is staggering. So I don't feel that way. But you know what? That too will be interesting. A younger generation that takes pictures of everything and records everything, they will be the most entertaining old people. I promise. That will be a sight to see, because they have their lives chronicled day by day, month by month, year by year. Me? Like I said, if you watch the last video, my sight's been sketchy through time. I didn't have it ingrained into me. I need to take a picture. I need to capture a picture. I need to capture a picture. It's like, I really can't see what I'm looking at, so I'm not that excited to capture it and then have evidence of that which I could not see. But most people, obviously, the phone is an extension of them. I don't remember where I watched this. Some psychologist lady was talking about that. For most people, the cell phone has become like a teddy bear. Like, it's their safety comfort. It's a safety blanket. And I guess on some level that's sweet. On another level, it's like, that's fucking sad. And I would love to have a conclusion to this long drawn out thought of where do we go from here. I don't know. I'd say step back. That's a lot easier for me because I never stepped in. This is the closest I've come at this point. And I'm having enough fun with it that I'll keep doing it. I'm hoping that a different, altered perspective from distorted sight through time, which is now getting better, can maybe be of some value in this world. I hope so. But for now, I would say to people, it's like, I said it on the last couple videos, it's like, we need physical experiences. More than anything, we need some kind of physical experience rehab. Or maybe just, like my acting school, people need to invest some time in taking classes on how to relate to each other. Certainly how to shake somebody's hand. And I guess that's the last thought I can think of at this point, is that this society, it's been going on for a long time. This is a touch-adverse society. And that was before the pandemic. After the pandemic, people really are just like, don't touch me, don't talk to me, let me see you through the comfortable, safe lens of my phone. I don't know, guys. I think that's only going to get worse through time. And we're going to see so many strange, and we already have, but we're going to see more strange results to what we've done to ourselves. And I'll be here for it, and I'll do my best to talk about it, whatever I can fucking think of. That's it for now. Wow, don't we all look better at night? Thanks for watching, guys. Share this video, like this video, and press the subscribe button. It is the only way more people become aware of me. This is not my hobby. I'm not doing this because I'm bored. I am taking the world by storm, one sweet view at a time. Check out my Patreon in the link below if you feel like contributing anything. I'll pay you back in perspectives and insights. It's just a matter of time, kids. Tell the world you were there at the beginning. God bless you all.